Dude, the guy that I'm most impressed with in that is Arman.
Oh,
yeah. I can't believe how good he is as a wrestler.
Well. Yeah.
Who's the dude he tech-falled?
Giorgio.
No. The Lance.
Oh, Lance Palmer.
That's right.
Lance Palmer.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, Lance was a
Lance
legit
Palmer's
wrestler.
a legit wrestler.
For sure. And Lance
won.
was like, oh, he's never wrestled at my level. He's never wrestled guys at my level. Arman goes up there and tech falls him.
Right.
Bro, Arman
Giorgio
is
did
legit.
better.
Yeah.
But even Giorgio, like you watch those videos that he does, where it does like $100 to take me down,
1,000 or whatever.
it is.
I feel altitude like a mountain. It's hard. It's like 7,000 feet. But if you get used to here on the flats, it's gonna be so easy. 4-time Sweden wrestling champion.
So what? Wait. You never been a champion in wrestling.
Brother, Ruff.
Hey, you
Ruff champion, Ruff.
and you wrestle with burgers.
So we done our morning workout. Now we're going home, have a lunch, and then nap, and then back to work. Every day, same in the training camp. When we're in training camp, we just train, eat, sleep, repeat, and sometimes walk.
Yeah.
Arman is a fucking bad man, dude. He's a bad man.
I know it. Yeah.
If you wanted to fight for Ilya at 55, that's a very interesting fight.
For sure.
100%.
Very interesting
For
fight.
sure.
Because he's hard to hit. He's very slick and technical, super flexible. Like, you ever seen those weird like mobility exercises he does with twists and shit with weights?
I know. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy flexibility.
He's definitely in his prime, man. He can't waste his life away right
Stop
now.
headbutting people.
Yeah, just
Fucking
do the
wait.
right thing because you are in your prime right now and it doesn't last forever.
He might
around.
already be champ if he could keep it together outside of the
100.
cage. You know what I
right?
mean?
Like if who knows what would have happened in the Oliveira fight? It was a proper fight, a 5-rounder. You know,
He's staying busy, though. It's not like he's on the couch.
He's staying real
smart.
What's going on?
So you hungry?
Работа дала Armenian простых историй.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Shelly, give me a piece of chop. Change machine, gosh.
Huh?
Change something different.
No. We got 2 more rounds to go.
Go! Here we go.
Both of you against me.
Hey, he killed me on
I gotta watch timer.
I'll let you watch.
I gotta bring my referee.
So, Arman shows up and he does this long, extensive warm-up. He jumps on an air diet and he literally goes for 30 minutes, the same pace the whole entire time. And you see him, he's on there just getting ready for the goal.
Arman Tsarukyan knows exactly what is waiting for him when he steps into the octagon against Mauricio Ruffy. This is not just another fight for the elite lightweight contender. Arman is facing one of the division's most dangerous and unpredictable strikers, a fighter who can turn one opening into a fight-ending moment. With a title shot waiting for the winner, Arman has every reason to take this camp more seriously than ever, and judging by the work he has already put in, he knows that beating Ruffy will require more than his world-class wrestling.
It's going to be in MMA instead of in the air diet.
The internet said you were getting chubby. I said, don't talk to him like that.
They don't see how many times I train per day.
They don't see the hard work.
They just see how I'm eating. So yesterday I ate like maybe 15 desserts.
15 desserts. What's your favorite dessert?
I'm not a big fan of desserts.
But you had 15 of them yesterday. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, so I'll show you. I'll show you what I got yesterday.
I'm a dessert guy too.
but 15 is out of my wheelhouse. That would hurt my tummy.
Chael Sonnen focused on what the matchup between Arman Tsarukyan and Mauricio Ruffy meant for the lightweight division, and what Arman's removal from the title picture could mean for Justin Gaethje. Sonnen explained that Arman vs. Ruffy appeared to be a genuine #1 contender fight, making it a major development for the division. His main point was that with Arman and Ruffy now tied up, the UFC had fewer options for Gaethje's next opponent. He also pointed out that the situation around the lightweight title picture was changing quickly, especially with several potential rematches already being ruled out.
Well, let me take my 4th swing at it. Apparently 4th time is a charm. Arman Tsarukyan will be taking on Ruffy. Now, I love it. I gotta tell you, I had some problems with the Charles match. I had some problems just because I've seen those guys fight. I've seen them before. And then there was talk that there was going to be no BMF. They're going to move to 5 rounds. Like, we were very close with some of the information that we had. And we got the 5 rounds down, for example. It does appear to be a true #1 contenders match. But this is a very big deal that Arman and Ruffy are now off the board. It's a very big deal. I mean, the big question of what is next for Justin Gaethje. And we're not going to know what's next just by listening to Justin, but if that's what we're going to take for now, for our clues, like by example, Justin says, I'm not going to do any rematches. Now, that doesn't actually mean that he won't do a rematch, by example. But let's operate under that. If he's not going to do a rematch, Ruffy was a legitimate possibility. Tsarukyan, very clear #1 contender.
Sonnen then looked at the possible consequences of Arman and Ruffy being taken off the board. He said that if Gaethje was serious about not taking rematches, several obvious opponents would immediately disappear from consideration, including Paddy Pimblett, Max Holloway, and Ilia Topuria. That opened the door for Usman Nurmagomedov, although Sonnen was careful not to claim that the fight was already planned. His reasoning was that Usman had only recently become available, so Sonnen believed the UFC may have already decided what was next for Gaethje before that happened. In other words, Arman vs. Ruffy was important because it removed another legitimate contender from Gaethje's potential list.
So now if you're not doing rematches, you're taking Paddy off the table, you're taking Max Holloway off the table, and you're taking Ilia Topuria off the table. Does that open the door to Usman Nurmagomedov? Yeah. It opens a couple of doors, but yeah. Now, the reason I don't have a level of confidence in telling you that Gaethje is going in the direction of Usman, the reason I don't have a confidence in telling you that, these decisions were made prior to Usman being a free agent. Now, things can change very quick in this sport, and it's hard to keep a secret, and information could have definitely got around, but I don't think so. I just think whatever's next for Gaethje is already set. And I don't mean that Justin has even been informed. I mean that I think the UFC has a strong confidence that they are going to be able to get the fight that they want for Gaethje. And by the way, I don't think it's going to satisfy all the criteria that Gaethje has laid out. I think that Max Holloway is an outside shot, but I think that Max has a shot.
Mike Heck was extremely confident about Arman Tsarukyan going into his fight with Mauricio Ruffy. He admitted that the matchup surprised him because he had expected Charles Oliveira to be on the other side of Arman, but once Ruffy was announced, Heck made his position very clear. He said he has backed Arman against virtually everyone he has fought and saw no reason to change that here. In Heck's view, Arman's wrestling, pressure, and overall skill set would simply be too much for Ruffy. He went as far as saying the fight would not be competitive and predicted Arman would run through Ruffy from the opening bell.
Islam Makhachev in that matchup, but UFC 331 announced, and this is the Wikipedia of the card right here. It didn't work out the way that we thought, Mike, and obviously the big one here is this Arman Tsarukyan Mauricio Ruffy fight that got made out of nowhere. So let's start there and let's react to it together. What was your reaction when it wasn't Charles Oliveira on the other side of Arman Tsarukyan headlining UFC 331?
I would say like a little surprised. Like I was a little thrown off by it because mostly the matchmaking is so puzzling to me because I'm just gonna put this out there. Anybody who's followed my coverage knows that I would pick Arman Tsarukyan to beat literally anybody he ever fights.
Of course.
He's been my dude from Jump Street. He is gonna absolutely run roughshod over poor Mauricio Ruffy. Like, this fight is not even going to be competitive for a moment. Arman's just gonna run his ass over. So, like, to me, I'm just like, okay, Arman pretty much, unless he slips on a banana peel and gets caught, he is going to fight for the lightweight title next. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
Heck was so confident in Arman that he believed the only realistic way Ruffy could win would be if something completely unexpected happened. He joked that Arman would win unless he essentially slipped up and got caught. More importantly, Heck believed this fight should put Arman directly in line for the lightweight title. He said that if Arman did not receive the next title opportunity after beating Ruffy, he would be extremely frustrated. So for Heck, this was not just another fight for Arman. He viewed it as a stepping stone that should lead directly to a championship matchup.
The other part was like, oh, everyone was reporting it was Charles Oliveira. And from what I understand, Charles was the name that was kind of on the list, but the reports that were out there were saying, like, this is signed, sealed, and delivered, it's a done deal. I'm here to tell you, that was never the case, at least from the conversations I had on the table being discussed. But basically the responses I was getting in regards to this fight were TBD, TBD. And then they went with Ruffy, and it's just like, I was like, oh, this is unexpected. And the response I got was like, well, people like to put the cart before the horse. But it seems like Charles was the direction they were going. It was never a done deal. And I assume, just based on the reports you've seen, which I think we can kind of put two and two together, the unfortunate news of the passing of Alan Nascimento this week is probably a catalyst, I would say is fair, as to why Charles Oliveira is not competing on this card. If he ever was going to compete on this card, now that was just...
Travis Herrick continued by focusing on Ruffy's physical advantages. He described him as a huge lightweight, standing around 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. For Herrick, those measurements were closer to what you would normally expect from a welterweight. He believed Ruffy's size, power, and striking made him a serious threat, especially because he actively looks for finishes. However, Herrick also admitted that Ruffy's wrestling remained the biggest concern heading into a matchup with someone like Arman.
And highlight reel win his best highlight reel to date, but that's just a glimpse of what this guy is. He's such a great striker, and on top of that, he's only 30 years old, right in the prime of his career. Never looked better, and he's huge for the division. For lightweight, this guy is 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. Those are stats that you would see at welterweight. That is absolutely massive for the division, so it's very exciting to see, and he has a style to back it up. He's going for the finish. Used to fight with Fighting Nerds, but has left that team and seems to be training with Volkanovski now, so totally new team for him, and he's been doing good with them. He's winning lately, so we can't really discredit it there. But that is Mauricio Ruffy. Great striker. Did get out wrestled by BSD, so that's not his strong suit there, and people are worried about that going into this one. We'll talk about that in a minute, but huge kickboxer, a lot of power for the division, and he's going to be looking to get another knockout over Arman Tsarukyan and then fight for the belt and hopefully keep this one off the mat.
When Herrick moved on to Arman, he explained why Tsarukyan was considered by many fans to be the #1 contender in the lightweight division. He highlighted Arman's strong UFC record, his victories over Charles Oliveira and Dan Hooker, and his ability to dominate opponents with wrestling. Herrick acknowledged that Arman's striking was not his biggest strength, but said it was good enough to support his real weapon. Arman wants to get the fight to the ground, control his opponent, and finish with submissions or ground and pound.
But looking at his opponent, who is the #1 contender in 90% of fans' eyes in the lightweight division, it is Arman Tsarukyan, or Tsarukyan if you were to ask Chael Sonnen. This guy is 23-3-0. He's 29 years old, 1 year younger than Ruffy, both of them in their prime there. 10-2 in the UFC, and he's hit 2 5-fight win streaks. So he came in UFC, in his debut, who does he get? An easy win? No. He gets who may be now the GOAT of MMA. GOAT list coming soon, so subscribe to see that. But he gets Makhachev in his debut, and it's actually a pretty good fight. Both of them were so young. This was so long ago, and he lost that fight. Since then, he's gone on a 5-fight win streak. and then he lost to Gamrot, which was a very close fight. Many fans think that was a robbery and that Tsarukyan should have won that fight, but nonetheless, it went to Gamrot. Since then, he's bounced back on another 5-fight win streak, and he's had a KO win over Dariush, a split decision over Charles Oliveira at UFC 300, which is his best win to date. I mean, look how good Charles is.
Chris Weidman were largely leaning toward Arman Tsarukyan in his matchup with Mauricio Ruffy, although they all acknowledged that Ruffy was dangerous enough to make the fight unpredictable. The biggest theme was Arman's wrestling. They expected him to close the distance, get Ruffy down, and use his ground game to create openings for elbows and submission. At the same time, they recognized that Ruffy had made changes to his training and had been working with Alexander Volkanovski's team, which could make him harder to control than he was in his loss to Benoit Saint-Denis. The group then discussed how Ruffy's improvements could make the matchup more competitive than expected. Ruffy had reportedly become much harder to hold down during his new training camp, which was important because Arman would almost certainly look to test him on the mat. They also pointed out that Ruffy is extremely unpredictable on the feet and can throw spinning attacks and other unusual strikes from different angles. That made the striking exchanges dangerous for Arman, particularly because he had been away from the cage for a significant amount of time. Still, the overall expectation remained that Arman would eventually find his way to the ground. Dustin and Jorge specifically focused on Ruffy's vulnerability when defending takedowns. The concern was that if Arman started missing takedowns or became careless on the feet, Ruffy could punish him with a right hand or body shot. However, they still believed Arman would eventually find the openings he needed. One of the strongest predictions was that Ruffy's wrestling improvements over the previous 7 or 8 months would not be enough to completely close the gap with Arman. They expected Arman's upper body takedowns and ability to lock his hands around opponents against the cage to remain too difficult for Ruffy to stop. Arman Tsarukyan's training camp has made one thing clear. He knows exactly what is at stake against Mauricio Ruffy. This is a fight where one mistake could completely change the momentum, especially against a striker as dangerous and unpredictable as Ruffy. But Arman has spent this camp sharpening the tools that have made him one of the most feared wrestlers in the division, while also preparing for the different threats Ruffy can bring on the feet. If Arman can impose his pace, close the distance, and get the fight where he wants it, his wrestling could become the biggest difference maker. With a title shot waiting for the winner, Arman now has the opportunity to turn all that preparation into another dominant performance and prove that he belongs at the front of the lightweight title picture.